All right, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily on Oh So Curious. We've got a ton to talk about today. As always, we have some stuff from the world of DC, from Wonder Woman to Superman, and then we'll dive into your questions as always. But in addition to that, we have to talk about Marvel, of course, today as well. A bunch of stuff coming from Avengers Doomsday, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, that's coming out this week. Big week for Marvel, of course. And it's also National Superhero Day. So, we're going to talk about all Marvel DC stuff. We're even going to get into Star Wars because Revenge of the Sith, as it turns out, there's a lot of people out there who still want to watch Star Wars movies. Too bad they can't seem to make any new ones. So they're trotting the old ones back out into movie theaters. And even those movies are killing it. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Sinners dominating the box office. Second weekend, it had almost no drop from the first weekend's numbers. Fantastic. Minecraft? It turns out Warner Brothers wants you to go throw the popcorn in the air and like you just don't care, but they're gonna make sure that you can do it at a special screening where that is the expectation. So we'll talk about that and so much more. To do that, as always, we're gonna start off with the news, then we're gonna dive into some quick hits, and then we'll get into all the DC news. So let's hit that Ryan Gosling intro, and then we'll get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right. Well, lots to talk about in the news today. I didn't even mention the fact that there's a new Miami Vice movie that's on the way, and the director for that one looks to be a very, very good choice. And to talk about that and so much more, as always with me, I've got John. How are you doing today?
I am doing A-okay for the most part. There has been a pause in my PC builds, but outside of that, I'm doing okay. So, yeah, that's very... I guess I gotta fucking move that later, but yeah,
is
pretty
there
good.
Like a stuffed toy back there with two eyes? What is
That's
going on?
Snorlax.
Oh, that's Snorlax?
I'll go get it. You don't see my pajama pants. There he is. Gotta grab him by the crotch. There he is.
Nice.
Snorlax.
That's cute. Okay.
Hey. There he is. And then here,
that's an unexpected.
thing that was precarious was a stuffed Dino Nuggie. There he is.
Damn. All right.
Nice little Stegosaurus.
Okay, now I want some Dino Nuggies myself. Yeah. Nice.
Good times. Anyway.
Cool. All right. Well, we're off and running already. Okay, let's dive into the news. Right off the top, we have some somber news to get into. We talked about this last week on the show. It was actually part of the quick hits because Bianca Castro Arabejo, she was on RuPaul's Drag Race and she was one of the judges on I think it was the Filipino version of the show. And was it Filipino or was it? I think it was Filipino version of the show. And she had like a medical emergency and she ended up needing to get one of her legs amputated. I believe that was, and it just was, terrible stuff. But we thought she was on the mend. But over the weekend, news came out that she has now passed away at the age of 44. Jiggly Caliente was her drag queen name and gone too soon. She was known for her sense of humor, vigorous dance skills, and interactions with fellow cast members on the popular drag television show. Of course, RuPaul's Drag Race just wrapped up its latest season on MTV, and now they have an All-Stars edition starting up in a week or so's time on Paramount Plus. So if you guys are a fan if you are fans of the show and the franchise, then you'll have more to enjoy. And I hope that they'll do some kind of tribute to her because that is terrible news. John, you were on the show when this topic came up last week. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, it seems like things took a turn for the worse over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say like anything like I mean it's sad. It's always sad to see, you know, somebody die, but I mean people die, a lot of people die every day that are not famous. So it's just kind of for me it's just one of those people because I don't care about Drag Race. I mean I understand like its importance and popularity in the pop culture zeitgeist. I know a lot of people love it and that's cool. Not my thing, but still sad to see someone who's still relatively pretty young pass away, like especially when it seemed like it was kind of avoidable. So, you know, sad to see, but I don't really have a ton of connection to them. I'm just kind of as one human being to another, sad to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same here. I am not too familiar with her work, but you know, I've been watching a lot more Drag Race recently. I've got dragged into the franchise, as it were. But yeah, it's terrible news whenever
Dragged.
you have someone, yeah, at the age of 44. That's way too early. And she was very successful. She was doing great stuff. Went from being a contestant to being a judge on one of the many iterations of RuPaul's Drag Race. But yeah, we will keep her in our thoughts and prayers, as it were. And in the meantime, we have to talk about the box office this weekend, John. But before we get into even that, I want to get into some Marvel stuff because, as I mentioned earlier, it's National Superhero Day. So we hope that you guys have been celebrating it, however it is that you like to do. Whether you want to watch a movie that you like, whether it's DC or Marvel, or maybe one of the other lesser known comic book characters. We, for one, are gonna kick things off with Marvel, and then we've got a shoot ton of DC stuff to talk about as well. But right off the bat, John, so today it was announced officially by the Russo brothers that Avengers Doomsday has kicked off filming. We have seen all kinds of photos of actors on set for weeks, that feels like at this point, but it looks like they weren't filming yet. They were maybe just doing costume tests and stuff. People are there. At least now we know officially they're filming Doomsday. So they shared some behind the scenes looks, especially I think a look at Doomsday, uh, not Doomsday himself, but his director's chair, Victor Von Doom. Um, I'm guessing the other side of this is the part which says Robert Downey Jr. So maybe they should do another, chair watch stream where we turn the chairs around and we see what the characters they are actually playing. And then you have the actor's name on one side and the name of the character on the other. Are you excited? I mean, it's now official. It's day one today. They're filming. I mean, maybe they were doing tests and stuff, but now they're officially going at it. We've already seen some set photos and videos percolate online. Destroyed. I don't know, what is this? This looks like a front yard of a house or something, or
People have been claiming that
a
it might
village
be.
town.
People have been claiming it might be the front of the X Mansion. I think we
Mm.
talked about that. Maybe I don't know. It called because like I see stuff, and sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't. So I don't know what we've talked. It all blends together, but it seems like that maybe it was just RDJ because I feel like didn't they start filming like back in like March?
So that's the thing, right? Because I know they're filming Doomsday and Secret Wars back to back. The fact that they just posted day one, you gotta imagine. I mean, they were doing something other than filming the actual movie. Like, why post day one today? I mean, let's take
And
them
the
on
thing
face
is, we've
value,
seen them. Oh wow, voice crack. We've seen them, like James Marsden and Sir Ian McKellen and Benedict Wong. We saw them filming. Like,
Mhm.
so why did they like? Maybe it was a scheduled Instagram post and they scheduled it for the wrong day. Oh shit, we meant March 28th, not April 28th. So like
That's
that's
a
like
good point. That's a good point. Oh man.
because like we've seen them filming. What it has to be RDJ specifically because the Russo brothers Instagrammed it, so I assume it's him specifically.
Maybe
Because I can't imagine that they have not started filming because we've seen
maybe
other
maybe
people
you're not.
filming.
Maybe they filmed all. You might be right that, but their post only said day one. They didn't say day one for Robert Downey Jr. So, but it's a possibility, I suppose. Maybe they shot some of the other cameo stuff or the X-Men stuff already, and now they're doing Victor Von Doom stuff. But I don't know. It's if you were to take it on face value, it looks like today was day one of officially filming. again, like they could have just been doing costume tests. They could have just been doing a lot like stuff that is not actually filming. But it's also, like you said, been months, not months, but like a month since we have seen actors, being in London, in the UK, in London, and we've seen them on the set. Even in the case of James Marsden, he had like his costume on, right? Like, and Ian McKellen had his costume on. So not like, well, James Marsden had the glasses on, not the whole X-Men costume, but Ian McKellen certainly looked like he was in his Magneto getup. So who knows? But hey, at least now officially they're filming day one. So National Superhero Day, like you said, maybe they're shouldn't, maybe they're just doing this to commemorate National Superhero Day, whatever. But John, I want you to kind of give us a idea of what you thought about Lewis Pullman's comments here, talking about maybe how he fits into the picture in Avengers Doomsday. I'll be right back, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. This was from Screen Rant. I think this is pretty interesting because Sentry is obviously one of the most powerful characters that is going to be around in Marvel now, and him being part of the Thunderbolts movie then naturally leads into Doomsday. I wonder how he measures up against somebody like a Victor Von Doom.
Yeah, he is an extremely powerful character, and as he says here, he is his own worst enemy, quite literally, because Sentry kind of has like a kind of similar what Moon Knight has a little bit, although very different. Like the Void is like kind of an alternate dimension, but like also like within himself is sort of like a secondary evil personality. So he's kind of like dealing with the, I don't know if it was like because of the drugs that like accentuated this darker personality, or if it's like something he always had. I'm not too familiar with Sentry, but so I'm really curious with how that will work exactly, like how they're gonna like really showcase it. Because obviously from what the previews we've gotten, Sentry as Void, the Void personality seems to be the villain. So I assume Thunderbolts are gonna come in, do whatever the plot demands, and then we're gonna get a sappy emotional speech at the end being like, Sentry, you can do this, we believe in you, buddy. And then like it just goes to like he I'm okay, guys, but then he has to like wrestle with the secondary personality, and then also dealing with all this power, but he's so fragile at the same time. So I'm really curious with how they're like gonna like showcase that. But I think Lewis Pullman really I think he really like kind of gets what little I know about the character here. So yeah, I think this is like an interesting tidbit in regards to what? But yeah, I think because it's like it's hard to do something like a Superman clone character and see what they do with it. Like essentially like it's just like Homelander is just evil, prissy, shitty version of Superman without any of the like intricacies that could make that interesting. Omni-Man is closer, but it's been very clear that Invincible is like the real Superman, and Omni-Man is like the like just kind of like his father, like it's just evil version of his father. So yeah, you have that, and then you have like Gladiator and Alpha Man. I think there was another one like that, or there's like a whole bunch of them. I know that all Squadron Supreme has one. There's a lot of Superman clones, but like how do you differentiate that? Like it's like, oh, what's Superman and what isn't, and they kind of make that work. So yeah, I think this could be extremely interesting for the future if I cared more about this. But like I get what they're trying to do. Hopefully they don't nerf him too much and they actually make him not just like, oh, he's just Superman but our version, but they actually do something kind of more of like a definitely like a struggle, kind of like a Moon Knight-esque struggle a little bit. Favorite superhero movie? I don't know, there's too many. Maybe Logan, probably, if I were to take a guess. Yeah. But yeah. But next up we have some old school art for, well, not old school, but like references and homages to Avengers comic book covers. So that's
I wanted to talk about this kind of for a second. By the way, the Lois Pullman comments are fantastic because, again, pardon the pun, because I really want to see what they do with the character to differentiate it from Superman, because they've already done Icarus and they literally flew him into the sun. So, Marvel trying to do a Superman without doing Superman, it's always going to be interesting because obviously it's Superman. But then to answer Caleb's question, I think my favorite superhero movie is The Dark Knight, easily. Logan is also up there, probably the best Marvel movie ever made. But John, this cover of Empire, the side-by-side comparison really makes me wonder again. That whole asterisk in the Thunderbolts, is the asterisk really just hinting that this is Valentina's version of the Avengers, like a corporate Avengers in the movie? Like that's how they're going to be marketed to the world, in a manner of speaking, or that's like the faux purpose that they have. Like this is like, they're like, the Avengers are not coming, we are all we got, we are the Thunderbolts, but like we're kind of the Avengers or the closest thing to it, or a knockoff version. Like, because here clearly, I mean, look, again, this is an Empire cover kind of thing. It looks like a collectible version, but obviously riffing on a version of the Avengers cover. What do you think, John? This really kind of maybe drives that point home.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is like, it's just Suicide Squad. That's all. It's just Suicide. Oh, and instead of the Avengers, it's like Superman contingent. Instead of getting, Amanda Waller, they're getting Valentina, blah, blah, blah. Name I can't pronounce, and it's fucking stupid. It's not this, but it's this. It's not this, but it's this. But it's like, all right, cool, great, boring, whatever. Move on. When is Fantastic Four going to get here? Like, I'm not hugely excited for that, but at least I'm actually going to go see that shit rather than this fucking bargain bin action schlock that would be, if it didn't have the IP attached, would be, immediately to fucking VOD.
Fair enough. We'll just have to wait and see, because I mean the movie comes out in a few days' time. I was gonna go see the early screening last week, but I couldn't quite make the times work. But I'm gonna try to see the earliest version of it this week as possibly can, because I'm excited for this personally. We know Liz is excited. We've got a lot more Thunderbolts coverage coming your way later this week. But hey, speaking of Marvel movies, apparently we now know that the Spider-Man 4 Spider-Man Brand New Day, it does begin filming in August. Marvel Studios is reportedly, according to Daniel RPK, one of the Hollywood insiders, they're looking to cast 3 new roles for this movie. 2 of them are villainous roles, and 1 male and 1 female. Do you care to speculate what those roles might be?
I mean, I assume a male and a female. It's probably going to be his like new friends. Like he's going to have either in college or post whatever the fuck they're going to do.
The Osborns introduced again.
Maybe. So, okay, wait, hang on. I read this wrong. Oh, okay. Sorry, I read it as 2 of them are villain roles, and then different shit, 1 male and no. Okay, so a male and a female villain, and just 3 roles in general.
So
okay,
then, yeah,
so I imagine
general,
one of them is
villains.
probably like a friend, a supporting character. A male and a female villain. He doesn't really have a lot of female villains, I don't think. I pray to God it's not fucking Screwball, because that's the only female villain I could think of for him, and Screwball fucking sucks. So,
bring on Madam Web.
It's not really a villain though.
No, I'm just saying. Well, it depends. Yeah, sort of. Like
she's more like omnipotent, like Dr. Manhattan. She's not really on a side. A male. I mean, it could be anybody at this point. Maybe Green Goblin or whatever the fuck.
Who's the last one though?
I really don't know. I don't care. I just want the movie. I want to be left in suspense. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's a trillion. Spider-Man has one of the best rogue galleries of all time. Give me a fucking villain I've never seen before. Like, I don't know. Fucking Hydro Man. Fuck it. Yeah, that's my theory. It's gonna be Hydro Man. Boom. There we go. Theory time. Play the X-Files music. Hydro Man. And they're gonna do the Clone Saga from the animated show. Boom. There you go.
Caleb suggesting Mr. Negative would be cool, or maybe even Black Cat. Like, we haven't seen those characters before in live action iterations, at least. I mean, Black Cat is a big one that's been rumored for a while, and maybe we'll get that finally. We almost got Black Cat in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? It was kind of hinted. Was it Felicity Jones's character? Was it, or who am I thinking of? She was like the assistant to the Harry Osborn character in that movie, but. Yeah, I mean, that was meant to be a Black Cat hint if they ever did a third Amazing Spider-Man movie. So there's that. But no, it's interesting to see how this might play out. I'd be excited to find out even if we get Ned Leeds back and he turns into his villainous alter ego in this iteration. Because we know we're getting a little bit of Zendaya. But anyway, moving on to the next Marvel thing, John. Fantastic Four is now confirmed to a Deadline article recently that it's not an origin story. In fact, it takes place 4 years after.
4 years, right? Yeah, I mean, that's fucking obvious. And plus, it adds to the whole Beatles thing because, you know, they became popular in America 4 years after their inception. So it, like, kind of weirdly works in that sense. But, like, yeah, I mean, it was pretty obvious that this was not an origin story. They're pretty well documented and well established that, you know, that they were not early stuff. So
I think this was part of one of the interviews with Matt Shackman, the director of the movie. He's kind of been talking more about, like, you know, how they're framing the story here, again differentiating themselves from every other iteration of the Fantastic Four we've gone before in about as many ways that we possibly can. But again, we'll have to just wait and see. It's still unclear to me whether the version of the universe that they live in, like their reality, like if it is actually like retrofuturistic in the sense that is it actually their 60s and they're just living in the past, or if it's like the present day but it feels like the 60s where they are. Because you look at some of the buildings and stuff, I'm like, you know, like you look at the 60s in New York, we did not have as many skyscrapers. Like the skyline of Manhattan looks much closer to that of a present day New York City in our world than it does to the 60s version of Manhattan. So you do gotta wonder, like, is it just it's a retrofuturistic look where it is the same time as us, except it looks like the 60s, our 60s, sort of, or if it is actually in their 1960s and they're gonna not only get plucked out of that universe but also into the future. Like, that's something that I would wonder about, because like they'd be like, you know, small little things, because like you have Herbie and stuff, but his eyes look like tape cassette, like, you know, tape cassette wheels, like, as opposed to, I don't know, do they have Blu-rays? Have they gone all digital yet? Did they have an iTunes revolution? What about the Walkman? Like, you know, can Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, have a conversation with them? Things of that nature I'd love to find out. We'll have to just wait and see. But moving on from the stuff on the Marvel side, John, we have to talk about, I think this is probably one of the most exciting pieces of news I've seen on this show in quite some time. And we've talked about so many different, you know, amazing stories over the last few weeks. But Miami Vice is getting a new movie. And, of course, the director of the moment, Joseph Kosinski, is set to direct it. Dan Gilroy is penning the script. And Dylan Clark, who is one of the co-producers with Matt Reeves on his Batman universe that I guess is on ice right now. Pardon the pun. But Dylan Clark is producing it, and this is going to be over at Universal. So we know, of course, right now, Joseph Kosinski is about to get on the promotional wheel for F1, which is an Apple movie. I think it's being released by Warner Brothers, but it's an Apple film with Brad Pitt and all. But then after that, he's got the UFO movie that he's working on with Jerry Bruckheimer. And that we recently found out. Who won that? Was that Amazon picked it up? Like, I forget who won the rights to the... We talked about it like a week or two ago. You guys are welcome to go back and check that out, but or like just Google up the movie. So that is the next project on his slate. But then after that, he's lined up this one, a new Miami Vice. This is the first iteration of a Miami Vice movie since the Michael Mann movie from a number of years ago. The one that he worked on was in 2006, and it starred actually Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, so Electro and the Penguin. But of course, the original TV show, with Don Johnson, Philip Michael Thomas, that's an all-time classic. And it's been a long time, since the 80s into the 90s that show was on air on NBC. So John, what are your thoughts on this? This looks amazing because Dan Gilroy wrote Nightcrawler. That was one of the movies of that year. Dylan Clark, obviously, I mentioned the Batman franchise. You have Universal Pictures who've got money to throw around. They've got Oppenheimer in the works right now with Christopher Nolan. And now they bring in Joseph Kosinski, the man who made almost $1.5 billion with Top Gun Maverick, following up with F1, and then has a UFO movie on the horizon. I'm like, is there a better director for this? Maybe other than the Adil Urbi and Bilal Fallah from the Bad Boys franchise. Other than those guys, I don't know if there's anyone better to bring in for a Miami Vice movie. John, what do you think about this whole situation? Because they've been trying to, I think, do it as a TV show, and that didn't. I don't know, it just never quite happened as a reboot. But now we're gonna get a new Miami Vice movie.
This is a really interesting thing because Miami Vice kind of failed at first, from what I know of the movie. It pretty much failed hard, but now it's a big cult classic and a favorite among Michael Mann fans. So there's that as well. So that's, interesting. But I think this is great. I'd go fucking see it. Joseph Kosinski is really, after Maverick, he's really just hitting home runs, it feels like, or he's doing really, really great things. Dan Gilroy is thank you for that. Dan Gilroy is, his brother's been cooking with Andor, and he's even written a couple episodes. So Dylan Clark has produced some great features. So honestly, I'd go see this. This is I can imagine what Kosinski has in mind. It'll be great. We'll probably star Tom Cruise, but I'm not complaining. So, I'll take it. Great stuff.
No casting yet, but you're probably gonna be Tom. You know what Joseph Kosinski should do? He should pluck the favorites from the different franchises that he's been on. He should take in Brad Pitt and then pair him up with Tom Cruise, and there's your $1 billion Miami Vice movie. That I mean, you can't beat that combination. That's box office gold right there. And then you just have George
an even
Clooney
better
is
one.
there.
Miles Teller and Garrett Hedlund. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Or
honestly, I feel bad for Garrett Hedlund. That dude's a great actor, and he just never hit that stride, I feel like.
Dude, oh my god. Yeah, you know what? I think I like the idea of if they were to get somehow Tom Cruise, who's got so much on his plate already, as does Brad Pitt. So I don't know if it would be hard to get those guys in here. But yeah, if they're trying to build a whole, trilogy or universe or franchise out of this, then you probably want to go a bit younger. Miles Teller and maybe Damson Idris, who's in the F1 movie as well. You can maybe do that. That would be nice. What's the name of that guy? What's the name of the kid? He's got the deepest freaking voice. He's in Sinners right now. He plays one of the main characters.
Miles Caton.
That guy's voice, man. That dude's voice be deep. Deep. Holy crap. Bring him in. Put him next to somebody. I'm like, okay, that could work. But on a bit of a somber note, the cinematographer of the Michael Mann, not the Michael Mann version of Miami Vice, but the original Miami Vice TV show. He directed some 50 odd episodes of the original TV show. Also the Bourne films, and then the legendary Morbius movie. Oliver Wood has passed away at the age of 80. He was a British veteran cinematographer. And he leaves behind quite the legacy. You look at some of his work: Die Hard 2, Face Off, the original Face Off, Freaky Friday, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, and the Bourne franchise.
One of Christopher Nolan's favorites.
One of Christopher Nolan's favorites. That is very true. He also did Safe House, which is a very underrated movie. That's the one with Ryan Reynolds and is that the one with Ryan Reynolds and Denzel Washington? Am I remembering?
It was pretty good back when
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds actually acted
did.
rather than just playing Deadpool in every fucking movie he was in. I heard Child 44 was really good, by the way. I never got a chance to see it.
I haven't seen that one myself.
That was with Tom Hardy. I think he plays a KGB agent. It's back during one of the World Wars or something. But yeah, I heard that was really good.
I mean, it's unfortunate. Against at the age of 80, I mean, he had quite, like, you look at the number of movies on his resume. It's amazing. It's crazy. He did 53 episodes of the Miami Vice TV show, The Honeymoon Killers. You have the Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, the original Face Off movie, which is a cult classic. He was nominated for a BAFTA for the Bourne Ultimatum in 2007. And he worked with Paul Greengrass between 2002 to 2007. I think the entirety of the original trilogy of movies, basically creating that naturalistic, distinctive style of the movie that obviously then went into other movies like Taken, which then they abused and reused. But it was originally created by Oliver. So yeah, I mean, he's survived by his wife Sabine, daughters Catherine and Fiona, and son Emerson. So yeah, it's a big loss for the filmmaking community. He of course has lent his talents to all of these amazing franchises. Even if you weren't a fan of Morbius, I mean, some of the cinematography in that movie was still pretty good. So yeah, Oliver Wood passes away. And I just figured bring this up now since we're talking about a new Miami Vice movie in the works. He's the one who basically did the cinematography with the original TV show. 53 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. Most TV shows these days don't even have 53 episodes. He directed 53 of the episodes. But our thoughts and prayers with the family and the friends of Oliver Wood, the legendary DP who has left us. But with that, we now have to switch over to talking about the box office this weekend, John, because a lot happened at the movie theaters. I know that the both of us got to see Sinners during the week last week or the previous weekend when it released, and then we've already seen The Accountant 2 on tax day. But The Accountant 2 officially came out this past weekend. The Sinners movie was also on a second weekend. Of course, Minecraft is still out there, and then the Revenge of the Sith, the episode 3 of Star Wars re-release on its 20th anniversary. It's in theaters till April 30th, so you have a couple more days to check it out. But I wanted to kind of go over the results of the weekend because it's quite fascinating, John, because Sinners made 45 million. Now remember, the first weekend, this opening weekend, it made like 48 some odd $million. I don't even know, do the math on that. What is that, like a 5% drop, if that? That is crazy.
I think somebody
good.
did the math. I think it's 6%. It was a 6% drop.
That is ridiculous.
That's got to be the lowest drop I think like I've ever seen in like recent memory.
I can't think of anything, like you said, in recent memory that did any better. Barbie didn't do any better. Super Mario Bros didn't do any better. Top Gun Maverick didn't do any better. None of the Marvel movies, or even the name.
And I love you gotta love the like Variety article. That motherfucker's got to be eating his word. Oh, it's good. It's a big asterisk that this is gonna make its money back. Meanwhile, like fucking, it made its money back already. It's like fucking eat dicks, Variety. Dude, fuck you.
And we'll go over the worldwide number soon, and I mean that number really goes to show you the full story. But also, of course, Revenge of the Sith I mentioned, it actually came in second behind Sinners with 25 million, just barely edging out The Accountant 2, which made 24.5 million. And then of course Minecraft coming in fourth with 22 million. So dude, what a weekend this was, not only for the movies but also for Warner Brothers. 3 out of these 4 movies have Warner Brothers involved in it. Of course, The Sinners and Minecraft are both WB Pictures, but then internationally, The Accountant 2 is being distributed by Warner Brothers. Domestically, of course, the movie is an Amazon MGM movie, and domestically, Amazon MGM is distributing it. Internationally, Warner Brothers is. And of course, Disney with Star Wars and Lucasfilm, they're doing well for themselves for a re-release that's 20 years old, making that kind of money in its weekend, first weekend. That is really, really good. That is really. I mean, you look at I'm just gonna go over some of what's written here for a second. Not only is this result that they made 146 million at the box office, not only is that the best for the final weekend of April since the end of COVID, but it's also the 4th best overall after Avengers weekends in 2019, where they made $402 million, and 2018, where they made 313.9, and then 2011, when Universal's Fast 5, wow, that's a long time ago, drove the same period of time to 158 million. So it's in rare territory here. That is pretty amazing stuff. Then when you look at the worldwide numbers, that's also impressive. Minecraft is well on its way to $1 billion. It's now sitting at over 817 million. Sinners, of course, like you talked about, at 162 million worldwide. That you could firmly believe that it's made its money back, and now it's just making profits. So no worries about that. Revenge of the Sith worldwide, John, made 42 million. Of course, we talked about 25 of that came from the domestic market in North America, but then another 17 million coming from abroad. That is crazy for a movie that's 20 years old. And The Accountant 2, of course, not doing half bad for itself, making 38 million worldwide, including 24 and a half of that coming domestically. What are your thoughts on all of this? I mean, these numbers are pretty impressive all around. The fact that not just one movie, not just two, not three, but 4 movies are doing fantastically well. Overall, you mentioned it was like a 6% drop for Sinners domestically. Worldwide, it had barely a 14% dip. That is just amazing. These numbers you do not get to see very often at all, John. What are your thoughts on the just the weekend at the box office in general?
Seems to be huge. It just seems like that we're finally starting to get into the summer box office. Usually it starts in May, but now it seems like we're really starting to like get profitable stuff, which I know I know when it comes to movies quality, it's not about money. I mean, clearly Minecraft almost has $1 billion. It's definitely not that to the quality of the movie. But with that, I think I just, it's a win for, it's a win for like these production companies, and it's a win for the theaters, mainly the theaters. I shit on WB a lot because they suck, but like at the same time, I do want I'm a selfish bastard. At the same time, I want DC to succeed, and hopefully this will help. Like, kind of, Minecraft will like help boost that. Kind of like how The Great Mouse Detective was used to fund The Little Mermaid, which became the start of the Disney Renaissance. Let's hope like the money they get from Minecraft will help bring in like something in regards to the new DC universe.
Yeah,
a man can dream. Well, WB can suck dicks, but like I care about DC, so that's the only thing I give a fuck about.
Yeah. I mean, and when you look at some of the other numbers, this article is really pointing out some interesting, opportunities where movies are doing better than what anybody could have expected. Revenge of the Sith, 20 years since it released, now is reaching almost $900 million worldwide for its overall box office, thanks to the 42.2 million that it made at, this past weekend, which is this 20th year anniversary. Also, it not only opened up to number 2 in the North American box office, it was number 1 in Germany, Norway, Chile, and Bolivia. And that is crazy. In Germany, it had the second highest opening of the year to date. A lot of German fans going to see episode 3 of Star Wars again. In Spain and Mexico, along with a bunch of other smaller markets, it was number 2. And it came in at number 3 in the UK and Australia, and number 4 in France and Brazil. But speaking of Sinners, John, there's a few other things we got to talk about. The Sinners cinematographer, because I went and saw this movie last week, and I noticed that, of course, they switch between shots that are clearly shot for IMAX, so you have the taller aspect ratio, and then they switch between those to more of the CinemaScope, wider, shot framing. So the cinematographer, the DP for the movie, Autumn Durald Arkapaw, confirmed that the film will shift aspect ratios when it releases on Blu-ray, so they won't just reformat it so that it's uniform. They are gonna do that kind of thing, which Christopher Nolan originally started with, like the Dark Knight and stuff, where you had the opening sequence with the Joker, with the heist, all in IMAX, and then the movie switches to the more traditional, wider format, and then it kind of bounces back and forth between some of the scenes. Nowadays, Christopher Nolan just exclusively lives in IMAX, but a lot of the other directors go back and forth. And so
after destroying 2 of the IMAX cameras, but
I'm sure they were happy to give him 5 more. But what are your thoughts on? Did you notice that the aspect ratios were shifting? Because I noticed a few times. Because I actually saw the movie.
I was so lost in the movie that I genuinely didn't even fucking notice. Like, straight up, I know that's a cliche answer, but yeah, I was just enjoying the movie. That I'm like, this is fucking great. I'm sure if I saw it a second time, I would notice, but
yeah,
I didn't notice when I watched it.
I mean, Caleb's saying these shots look gorgeous. They look like a real movie. I mean, a real movie in the sense that it's not shot on a green screen. It's they're actually showing you real fire, real water, real golden hour sky, not Anthony Mackie standing in front of a green screen with a clearly composited background because they went and did reshoots. It's shot beautifully, and I remember like we talked about how Christopher Nolan suggested the idea to Coogler to go shoot this in IMAX and in a large format camera, and gosh, like you could really tell like this movie felt like it was a movie meant to be seen on the biggest screen. And I mean, I saw it on IMAX, so you can even feel that even more so than you would have if you saw it in like a Dolby theater or just like a standard format digital display. But yeah, that's amazing. But as far as the box office goes, John, Ryan Coogler continues to break new ground for Black directors because he has now become the first Black director to have 4 films earn over $100 million domestically apiece. Now with Sinners being the 4th one. He previously had the Black Panther movie in 2018, Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther in 2022, and of course Creed, the first Creed movie in 2015, all 3 of which broke $100 million. 2 of the Black Panther movies, of course, going way past $100 million at the domestic box office. Now Sinners adds to that, and that's crazy to think about. I mean, you'd imagine by 2025 there would be more examples of this, but even with directors like Jordan Peele, like he should have gotten a few more, but it seems like he hasn't quite gone there yet. But Ryan Coogler now breaks that barrier. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Coogler can translate this into even more success? Because obviously he's working on a 3rd Black Panther, but do you feel like he's going to want to do more original movies, and will studios give him the latitude that Warner Brothers did? Maybe even Warner Brothers bringing him back in for another one.
Hopefully. One can only hope that he will get more bankable films, not because of the money, but because the whole idea of like theaters are dying, and the movie we need to have the movie, we need to save the movie theater experience, and we just need to start releasing more original movies, more like better movies. And I understand that like most original movies this year have flopped, but sometimes just like when you hit everything and you get that lightning in a bottle, it just fucking works, man. And people are excited to see this. I mean, it's got a great cast. It's got a great everything, pretty much everything. So yeah, just fucking, it's always a win for movie theaters. No matter what, it's always a win. Like even Minecraft, I wish people didn't act like pieces of fucking garbage, and we're gonna get into that soon. But like, it's nice to see.
We'll talk about that. Yes. No, it is definitely really, really nice to see. And Caleb continuing to say again, like the cinematography is amazing. I feel like this will get nominated for best cinematography this year or next year at the Oscars. And Brian Coogler, of course, good. Michael B. Jordan probably gets nominated too for a best lead actor performance, right? We, by the way, have Ron, Elite EZ, Hunter Iggy, and Figure Drawing in the chat alongside, of course, Caleb's been here from the start. Now, Michael B. Jordan recently was starstruck, which, I mean, you don't usually see stars being starstruck, but Tom Cruise posted, a photo on his Instagram, I think it was, that he went to see, you know how he likes to do it? Tom Cruise now, I mean, he's, of course, on the Warner Brothers lot. He was doing this for Barbie. He's kind of become this person who
he was doing it for the Flash.
He did.
For some reason.
But in general, though, I feel like Tom Cruise is now at an age where he's like, I'm just going to be an ambassador for the film industry as a whole.
Same with Nolan. I mean, look at that.
Yeah. And so whenever he goes to see a movie, he'll like take a photo and then he'll just post about it. Like, oh, like, here are my tickets. Congratulations to all the folks who worked on this movie. Go and see it for yourself in the movie theater.
Because my man probably has like his own personal movie theater. Like he's rich enough to afford. It's like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm gonna go to the goddamn theater.
So I mean, he posted about this on his Instagram. Tom Cruise there with the long hair. He's going through his latest long hair phase. I wonder what movie theater this is, because that banner looks amazing. He said, "Congratulations, Ryan, Michael, and to the entire cast and crew. Must see in a cinema and stay through the end credits." So Tom Cruise went to see this, and when he posted about it, then Michael B. Jordan went on his Instagram stories and he was like, "Nah, this is amazing." Like he posted just being starstruck by the fact that his work is being recognized by, of course, Tom Cruise, who I'm sure Michael B. Jordan probably looked up to growing up. He said, "Nah, this is crazy," like with a mind blown emoji. So I don't know, if I was somebody who was fortunate enough to have a movie out there that Tom Cruise went and saw in a movie theater and then posted about it, I would be freaking out
Kevin
myself.
Bacon posted something too. It was him and his wife, Kyra Sedgwick, all went to go see Sinners, and they were just like, "Oh my god, this was one of the best movies we've seen all year." I know Kevin Bacon doesn't get the high brow of Tom Cruise, but I did remember seeing that, like, he posted something out of the theater where he was like, "That was amazing, one of the best original movies. You should be so proud." Blah, 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 like that kind of shit.
Leedy's saying he just went to see the movie just to see what in the movie would be fun to jump off of. Well, in terms of structures in the movie, the only structure was like the juke joint, right? Like where they tried to well, they didn't quite burn the place down, but they could almost show it being burnt down on several occasions. Actually, no, they did, but never mind. By the end of the movie, I will not spoil it any further than that. Caleb saying The Flash is the greatest superhero movie ever made. Cruz, new Superman. I don't know. I think he's a little too old for that now. But yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise going to probably a movie theater in LA, like Ron said, to go see the movie and posting about it. And then I'm sure Ryan Coogler was just as starstruck by it as Michael B. Jordan clearly was. Of course, Tom Cruise now will start promoting, probably even more so than he already is, the new Mission Impossible movie. So in between that, though, he had some time to go check it out. But Revenge of the Sith, John, we talked about it. It was a force to be reckoned with at the worldwide box office. 20 years after it originally released, came in and had an opening weekend worldwide of $42 million. It's going to be in theaters until April 30th for a couple of more days, that is. That opening weekend puts it up there with a bunch of other movies. Like, I think that kind of puts it in the same neighborhood as what Mickey 17 did. And that was a brand new movie. And here comes Revenge of the Sith, 20 years after it originally came out, making all kinds of money. Not only that, but we kind of talked about how The Accountant 2 couldn't beat it and had to finish, settle for third place at the box office. And that's kind of crazy to think about. Not only that, John, but at the fan event in I think this was in LA somewhere. This was at the El Capitan Theater, the famous El Capitan Theater. We had Anakin Skywalker himself and Mace Windu both show up and talk about the process of making this movie and how they're so thankful and love the fact that people are still coming back to see it. That was kind of nice. So you had both Sam Jackson and Hayden Christensen coming back. Of course, Hayden was at Star Wars Celebration in Japan, and he kicked off the event. They announced that he's coming back in Ahsoka Season 2, and he thinks there's a lot of other stories out there with Darth Vader that are yet to be told. I, for one, am enjoying the fact that Hayden Christensen, who was chastised by the fan base of Star Wars for years, is finally getting to enjoy being part of this franchise. Something that should have changed his life years ago, but he, I guess, had to travel the road, down the road less traveled, as they would say. John, what are your thoughts on, again, just the performance of Revenge of the Sith at the box office?
Cool, I guess. Win for movie theaters. That's all I can really say.
Huge win. When a 20-year-old movie comes out and makes that kind of money, it made more money than a brand new movie, The Accountant 2 did. Come on now. By the way, Elite Easy, Kevin Bacon was amazing in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Now that's got to be a part of your every year must watch once a year holiday special. Elite Easy saying it only takes Star Wars fans to 2 decades to appreciate a Star Wars movie. Yeah, every fan base has their, good times and bad times, moments, and, otherwise. But yeah, this was great. I mean, then they posted this whole video. I saw this on Instagram, a nice little summary of the fan celebration event and just the overall marketing. Remember last week we were talking about how they posted a reel from the El Capitan Theater where he shows up with his collectible Darth Vader popcorn bucket and what would you call it, soda dispenser, and he's like, I'm ready for my movie. And yeah, it's out there still for a couple of more days. It's got one of the more iconic sequences from the Star Wars lore. We were brothers. Anyway, John, overall, an interesting stat to kind of wrap up the box office review for the weekend. This was the first time in almost 2 years that 4 films grossed over $20 million the same weekend at the box office. Again, Sinners at the top of the pile with 45, Revenge of the Sith with 25, The Accountant 2 with 24.5, and Minecraft with 22.7, probably going to become the first $1 billion movie of the year. Which of these four, if you had to recommend people go see again?
Sinners and Accountant 2, the other two can fuck off.
I, for one, would say it just depends on what you're looking for. Go see all of them. Support the movie theater near you. Enjoy the experience. Sinners.
Just be careful which Minecraft showing you're going.
You get to, yes, and we
will
specify the one
you might be hit. You might get hit in the back of the head with a bucket of popcorn.
And they will be like, you know what? You walked into the wrong theater for that, because that is allowed.
You gotta bring a sword in, just start lobbing off Gen Zers and just decapitating them and just being like, who's the chicken jockey now, motherfuckers? Anyway.
By the way, Ron's saying Warner Brothers are having the best year so far for all the studios. Look, it was just weeks ago with Mickey 17. We were talking about their studio heads might be getting fired. And all of a sudden, they've turned things around. They're not quite out of the woods yet. I would say there's still probably a few more movies this year that need to do really well for Warner Brothers to have a really good year. But I mean, they're off on a streak right now, so that's great. They could have the first $1 billion movie of the year. They might have an Oscar-winning movie right now in Sinners, and we still haven't even gone to like May or July. I mean, May is a few days away, but the summer movie months haven't even started yet. So with that, John, we're going to wrap up the news segment of the show. We have to now move on to the quickest part of the show, where we talk about more news, but just a whole hell of a lot faster. So the quickest today are also quite a bit of fun, because remember earlier we were talking about how Joseph Kosinski, who's directing Brad Pitt and F1, he's got a new movie, Miami Vice. Well, Brad Pitt also has a new movie. He is partnering up with Edward Berger on the writers from Scott Free, as A24 has now boarded to distribute and finance the movie. What are your thoughts on this one, John?
A lot of talent on this one. You got Brad Pitt, you got Edward Berger, who's Oscar nominated. Did he win? Yes, Conclave. He did win. He did win an Oscar, I think, through writing.
He directed like Conclave, so that was.
Yeah, well, I know. I don't know if he. Yeah. I know All Quiet on the Western Front won a couple, but I don't know if he got it specifically. But whatever it is, you got Oscar nominee or winner. I think it's just nominee. You got Scott Free, which is Ridley Scott's production company, and you got A24 financing and distributing. That seems like a recipe for fucking greatness. Chef's kiss.
Yep. It looks fantastic. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, once they give us more details about the movie itself. But dude, you got Brad Pitt and Edward Berger. I mean, Conclave is doing fantastic right now, because everybody wants to know, how do you actually elect a new pope? And there's a movie for that. Unfortunately, they couldn't have timed it any better, but like, what? You can go watch that on, I think it's on Peacock. But anyway, moving on to the next thing, John. Miles Teller, we also talking about, again, Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski. Man, that guy is connected to every story today. Miles Teller set to star in an Olympics picture called The Winter Games. It's coming from Paramount. And is going to be focusing on a star thrower. This looks very interesting, because the director of this movie is going to be Paul Downs Colizzo. Pat Cunane and Colizzo are both writing the script together. And the only interesting thing about this that I thought, what was curious is, the Olympics are on NBC, but Paramount is the one making the movie. But they could have just easily had this at Universal, but I don't know how it was set up. Essentially, the movie revolves around a high-stakes arena of the Winter Olympic Games. A perpetually overlooked skier and self-sabotaging hockey legend who collide at their breaking points. Their unexpected connection threatens her chance for a medal and his shot at a comeback as they navigate romance and redemption in the Olympic Village. Ooh, romance in the Olympic Village. That's always gonna be a fun part of the movie.
Why do I hear clapping? Anyway,
I don't know, John. It's coming from your side, not mine. I'm guessing he plays the hockey legend. At this point, you might as well, cast Anya Taylor-Joy as the, what was the other character? The overlooked skier. Wouldn't that be perfect? I mean, they just did that movie, The Gorge, which I saw on Apple TV. That was also a Paramount movie. So I don't know. Maybe this could be another collaboration between the two. They had great chemistry in that film. So I know you were trying to see that one. What do you think about this movie idea?
Cool.
Tom Cruise does have an office on the Warner lot, Elite Easy. You are right about that. All right, moving on to the next thing. The chat is popping off now. Minecraft, John, you've been teasing it this whole time. Let's talk about it. Minecraft is now gonna have these special rowdy screenings that Warner Brothers has announced, where they're calling it the Block Party Edition. So you can show up to these special showings, and they're encouraging you to talk and sing along with the film. Which, of course, we already know there's a lot of hijinks that have been going on at screenings for Minecraft. This time around, though, they're gonna.
It's kind of too little, too late at this point, but I guess it's better than nothing.
I think this is another promotional stunt to try to get people to come back to the movie, another weekend. They're like, oh, now we can go and actually have fun and not be frowned upon. Why not?
Like they fucking cared to begin with. Like, come on.
Look at what they said. They said Warner Brothers Pictures and Legendary Pictures invite fans back to the theater to experience a Minecraft movie together in a whole new way. You know the moments, you know the lines, you love the songs. Now it's time to get loose, laugh out loud, and belt out those lyrics like a true Diamond Tier fan. So yeah, memeing along and singing along. That's the goal. I wonder if Jack Black is going to show up in person to one of these and talk about, like, now you can do the chicken jockey and nobody's going to care. Except, don't stab somebody or dump popcorn on their head. I suppose that's still not allowed. But Mission Impossible, John, we talked about it. Tom Cruise is going to be promoting it soon. He was watching Sinners this past weekend, but they've released this new artwork of the new movie, The Final Reckoning, with the classic Tom Cruise running pose with the upside down plane that he's clearly hanging off of. And there's a submarine in there somewhere. They give it in the latest trailer. They gave him an aircraft carrier, which I'm like, all right, well, they got it for Top Gun, so might as well get it again.
You know what? You want to know what's? I was actually like, every time I say the same exact joke in my head, every time I watch trailer, where they're like, "You gave him an aircraft carrier." I'm like, well, yeah, he's Maverick. Every single time in my head, without fail, I say to myself, "Well, he's Maverick. Of course, he gets an aircraft carrier. Come on now." But yeah, I'm lame. It's okay.
Yep.
Also, gotta love Tom Cruise indirectly rocking the bowl cut, just like Guy Gardner.
Yep. Oh yeah, I know. I very much noticed that. Definitely noticed that. You know what it is though? This silhouette almost makes him look like 20 years younger. I mean, because you don't.
Well, yeah, because I think it is him. I think because you know how they have because they're gonna try and pull a fucking Spectre where everything was secretly connected this whole time, which I'm a little worried about. But
I am worried about that too.
I'm worried about that, but let's see. So I think this is from the first movie where he's running from the fish tank, because he's talking to the guy who was brought back, the head of the IMF. Or whatever, and he's like talking with him, and he's like accusing him of being the mole, and then he throws the gum, and then the thing explodes, and then he starts running. Yep. I think he's wearing like the same, where he's like wearing like a suit with no tie, and he
right. No, I remember that. Yes.
I will say, I want to say this. It's kind of amazing that the first Mission Impossible is now considered underrated, because like that's like the best one. Yet everyone's like, "Oh no, it's like 5, it's 6."
I still don't think it's the best one. I personally don't think it's the best one. But I mean, to each their own. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe I should go watch it again. It's been many a year since I've seen it. By the way, guys, there's a lot of you in the chat, enterprising here as well. Steven joining in. Hit the like button while you're here. We do appreciate that. But we're gonna keep on going with the quick hits. John, while you talk about this, because this is clearly in your wheelhouse, a new teaser for Alien Earth, I will be right back. But I want to hear your thoughts, because you saw this. This looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I've said many a times before, I'm so stoked for this show. I love how we're barely getting anything from this. We got a little, like, teaser trailer, I think, like a couple weeks ago, a month or so ago. We're getting like a little bit here, and it seems like they're giving us what people have wanted. They want to see aliens on Earth, because like last time they did that, we don't talk about that. So like, because I know people have wanted like an Alien 5, like post like Alien Resurrection, where it's like it's going to be on Earth. There was so many scripts that planned to bring Alien to Earth. So now even though it technically counts with Alien versus Predator, you still bring the Predator in there. So with that, this is solely an Alien thing. So I think this, I mean, it looks great. Like, I'm still dodgy because it's technically Disney, and fuck Disney, but I'm still stoked for this. This looks good. They're not showing us a lot, and yeah, it's not connected to the shitty fucking Fede Alvarez movie.
Did you notice in that new Predator Badlands movie, like the robot eyes has like a logo from the Alien universe?
No, it is
like...
Weyland Yutani. Yeah,
okay.
No, it's confirmed.
So
like,
do you think there's gonna be a crossover in this
so...
show? Like, this show's in a crossover with that too?
I don't think they're gonna I think they're gonna keep Predator its own thing. I think Dan Trachtenberg is like pumping out Predator movies. He's just doing that, and then he's like the fucking ambassador of that franchise. He's made like he's gonna make these 2 movies. He's behind Killer of Killers, so you know he's got that. They're gonna just have Alien be doing their own thing. I'm gonna do my own thing anyway.
All right, dang. All right, Jalen Harris is here as well. Hello, Jalen. You're in time. We haven't gotten to DC yet. I mean, and Hosea showing up as well. Hello, Hosea. Welcome on in. We're doing the quick hits, guys. If you missed some of the box office stuff we talked about, there was a bunch of Marvel news at the top of the show. There's a new Miami Vice movie coming out. We talked about that stuff. But now, speaking of Marvel and Ryan Coogler, he was asked, what is your favorite black vampire? And he had a simple one-word answer, John: Blade. So my question to you would be, do you think Ryan Coogler could direct a Blade movie?
Yes, first off. And yeah, no shit. What other fucking black vampires are there? Blackula?
I was gonna say
Jones
Blackula.
From Ganja and Hess?
Maybe?
Like, really? Those are, like, come on. Those are the only other 2 I can think of off the top of my head. Come on now. Of course. And they pretty much, and I don't totally believe this because it seems very convenient with Ryan Coogler coming out with Sinners, but apparently the costume designer confirmed that one of the many scripts and one of the productions that actually got close into production for Blade was that it was supposed to take place in the 20s, and so that would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is weird because Blade isn't like an old vampire. He was like born. He was born that way, yes, but he was born in like contemporary, like he was born contemporarily. So I don't know why they would have the need to make it a period piece, but like, sure, why not? But it's just so funny that these motherfuckers can't seem to fucking get Guy Who Kills Vampires off the ground. Meanwhile, Ryan Coogler cranked out a black vampire movie that would have probably been way fucking better than any of these motherfuckers could probably hope to come up with. So yeah, good for him.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Marvel, dude, just give him the movie. Give him the movie. He clearly wants. I mean, not that he clearly wants to do it. I'm sure he's got a lot to do, but I certainly think he wouldn't mind directing a Blade movie. Eddie Murphy played a black vampire, didn't he? Well, no, he did.
We don't. Oh God, anyway. Yeah. I try to forget about that movie. I think there's the black vampire from Billy and Mandy, but like he's supposed to be like Blackula, like he was like a parody of Blackula, so like that was the whole point. But
Man of Steel Magnolias is in the chat saying Blade got the time stone. Well, you know, I guess.
Well, I mean, vampires also live a long time.
Exactly.
That was the whole point. That was the whole point with that, with him, is that he was a vampire with none of the weaknesses, and so I assume because of that he is immortal by vampire standards outside of the vampire weaknesses. Like in terms of like stake through the heart, like things that will 100% kill a vampire,
right?
Outside of like sunlight and a couple other things, but yeah, he's pretty much immortal. So it would make sense because they gotta like, I mean, he did have a voice cameo in Eternals for that post credit scene that'll never be treated again, much like Hercules with Brett Goldstein as Hercules, and it's like, all right, that's never happened.
You never know.
Again.
I mean, maybe he shows up in Secret Wars. I don't know. That's one place to pay off all those small cameos. But hey, Green Day, they're getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, John.
Okay.
Cool. I had just as many words to say about that myself. Karate Kid Legends has put out a new photo from the movie. All of them hanging out in the same elevator. That looks nice. Is that Joshua Jackson in the background? On the right behind Jackie Chan? I can't tell. That looks he was on Fringe back. He's got another. Doesn't he have a show on a cruise where he plays a doctor on a cruise right now? Looks interesting. What I thought was, of course.
Well, I know White. That looks like Wyatt Olaf in the back behind Ralph Macchio.
Okay. Ming-Na Wen there. Of course, she plays the mother of the main character in the movie.
Yeah.
Looking good. I love her from Stargate Universe. She was in, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she's been in a bunch of other stuff too. I love one of the comments in here. What's the photo from Spider-Man No Way Home? Kind of the same thing, essentially, you know.
Wow, that shot looks fucking terrible. Like Sandman looks like he was photoshopped in there.
Also, the tentacles, Doc, yeah, don't look real. Like Doc Ock, like all that stuff looks very CG.
Honestly,
was excited about Green Day.
Wait.
Sorry, you were saying?
No, I just would like, since we have
the
elevator music.
Yes, totally on point. You know what? This is perfect. I hope that's the music they're listening to.
Hold on, just. It works.
It does. You know what we should do? We should do like an interstitial for the show where we get to take like a 30-second break and we just get all the shots from different movies where people were in elevators and we just put them together and we just put this music on. So maybe that could be
It's time for the quick hits. Boom, and then
boom,
yeah.
Just elevator music. Yes. Guys, let us know in the comments. What are other movies with famous elevator scenes? And
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
Remember he's talking to the guy, he's like,
yes.
Gets right up in the crotch area a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. That was hilarious. Jalen Harris was like, "Oh yeah, this music is my shit." Yeah, it is. Hosea asking, "Do you guys think there is more hype or hate for Superman 2025?" We will talk about that more when we get to Superman. But yeah, Caleb, you're getting pumped up by the elevator music. Oh, the hate or hype around Superman 2025. I think right now it's more overall positive. Speaking of positive, John, we have a first look at Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which comes out on Netflix later this year. Your thoughts?
Amazing. Can't wait to see it. Yeah, looks fantastic. It definitely has it's definitely going to have like a Victorian vibe, but I also feel like it's going to have like a steampunk kind of vibe. Definitely knowing Guillermo del Toro, so that's I feel like the vibe that he's going for. And he's going to deliver a great performance because Oscar Isaac is one of the best contemporary actors working today. So, and I think Mia Goth is in it. Jacob Elordi is replacing Andrew Garfield because Andrew Garfield was supposed to play the monster, and now it's Jacob Elordi, which downgrade, but scheduling conflicts. So, you got to work with what you got. So I'm still stoked for it. Speaking of Blade, he's going from vampires to Frankenstein now, Guillermo del Toro. So, hell yeah.
Yep. It looks great. I can't wait for this. Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Caleb, you are right. It's not the literally me Christian Bale #damage Frankenstein.
Nope. This one looks a lot better than that. Moving on to the last quick hit of the day. Greg Berlanti, busy as ever. His show You on Netflix just kicked off its final season, but while that show is wrapping up, he's already got another show at Amazon set up, Stillwater, which has got a full series order.
The band from Almost Famous?
I don't know if that's what this is about. It's a little more of a high concept sci-fi horror thing, I think. And then he's also got Foster Date over at Hulu, and then he's got another show over at Max potentially. And he's going to be writing some of these shows himself, not just exec producing. So, John, Greg Berlanti, as busy as ever with Warner Brothers Television. The show over at Max is meant to be similar to The Pit in the sense that it's going to be 14 episodes a year on a reasonable budget, not like one of those high concept sci-fi shows. Like Stillwater seems to be one with a lot more of a budget behind it than Foster Date at Hulu. Your thoughts on Greg Berlanti? I mean, of course, the Arrowverse is over, but he's still got a lot going on.
But yeah, cool for him, I guess.
Yep. But yeah, we are getting 2 Frankenstein movies in 1 year, right? Man of Steel. Man of Steel. So there's Frankenstein on Netflix. What's the other one? Am I forgetting?
No, it's the Bride. Well, the Bride is coming out next year because it got
Okay.
delayed. But Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, is coming out this year.
Got it. Well, you know what? That is the end of the quick hits. And there goes the music that we were enjoying so much. But guys, let us know in the comments, what was your favorite part of the news? Was it the music, the quick hits music, or the Marvel stuff? Fantastic Four, Avengers Doomsday starts filming. Victor Von Doom got his own director's chair. Of course, we had Spider-Man news. We had stuff from Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise went to see Sinners, as did pretty much everybody else. Minecraft, you can go watch a screening where it's okay to get rained on by other people's popcorn. They won't mind. But beyond that, of course, we have lots more to talk about today. So guys, let us know in the comments which of the stories was your favorite. What would you like to have in the new Quick Hits intro we're going to be working up? Because we want your favorite elevator shot in the new Quick Hits intro. So drop that in the comments down below. Hit the like button while you're at it. But we are not done yet. Far from it, John. As always, it's time for the main event of the show, because it is time to talk about DC. So welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. As always, we've got lots to talk about from the world of Superman, from the world of, I'm sure we're going to get into some Lanterns news, your questions and comments. We have to talk about, of course, Wonder Woman as well. There's not just one, but potentially 2 actresses vying for the role. So John, to talk about that and so much more, I want to ask you, which of the DC stories today are you most excited to talk about?
All of them.
And hold for applause. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about some Justice League artwork first, John. So the Absolute series is still ongoing, and it looks like here we have what's the name of the artist? Melmad Dukes. Hopefully I got that right. Drew up some Absolute Justice artwork. I don't know if this is official artwork, but some of these characters, obviously, you see the
Look at that goddamn cloud sword.
Straight out of the Absolute comics. Like, holy shit. You got a Batman in there, you got Wonder Woman, you got Superman on the side, Flash, Martian Manhunter. Oh my god, I can't wait for Martian Manhunter to be in Justice League again. Green Lantern, of course, Absolute Green Lantern. You've got all of these fantastic designs, John. What do you think about this? Do you think these designs and obviously the popularity of the comics maybe warrant even they give like somebody, I don't know, like maybe Guillermo del Toro like wants to do a Absolute Justice League movie or something like that?
I don't think he would. I think he had Justice League Dark. That never became anything. So I was like, all right, deuces. I'm out of here. Yeah, this looks really cool. I don't know if I'll ever read the series or any of them. Not a lot of color here outside of Martian Manhunter, and it just kind of looks all grayish, reddish. Kind of looks the same. Like what I like about like the actual Justice League. You have like blue, like majorly blue with Superman, like majorly red with Wonder Woman. You got orange with Aquaman. You got green with Green Lantern. Majorly red with Flash. Like it's all like different. You got purple with Martian Manhunter. This just kind of looks a little bit too bleh to me. Like it kind of looks the same, but it's still like impressive artwork. Like I will say that. So yeah, I mean, people enjoy it, so that's cool. It shows that I just find it. I said this before. I just find it to be so funny that like DC and Marvel are like so far up their own asses that they just like can't figure out like how to make good comics in the main continuity anymore. Yet their fucking alternate like lines that don't take place in the main continuity are actually like fire. Like Absolute and Ultimates are just breaking records and being like, yeah, maybe your mainline comics fucking blow because you're putting way too much thought into it, when instead of just giving the fans what they want, they're like, nah, fam. And then they don't give a flying fuck about the Absolute or Ultimate line because it's creators actually doing what fans want or doing something creative and interesting that we've wanted to see for a long time. And it's just like, wow, amazing. Letting comic book creators be creative and people want to buy that. Insane. It's just like, it's so like, it just shows how out of touch these motherfuckers are, like no matter what. And it's just like, sometimes just let creatives do what they want. Sometimes you're not going to get a great comic, but you know what? You're going to get somebody with a vision. You're going to get something interesting. And like at least unique. So give him that. I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, look, it definitely could be something that could turn into something animated, like Lead Easy said. I would not mind if some filmmaker comes to James Gunn and says, "I've got a vision for this. Let me do an Elseworlds Justice League." Although they probably wouldn't want to do an Elseworlds Justice League anytime soon because they probably want to build up to the mainline DCU Justice League first. But I love the Martian Manhunter design. I love the Green Lantern design, Flash, everything. They look so different and unique. And the way this Batman design here is done, I like it better than some of the other versions that I've seen. And dude, that Superman looks very interesting. You can even bring Henry Cavill back, I guess, as that. And that Wonder Woman design is definitely by far my favorite of all of these characters. It has been from the moment we saw the first version of that. It would. Some people might say though, hey, wasn't Absolute Justice League basically Zack Snyder's Justice League? Well, um, that's relative. But you know what? The Justice League that we did get with Zack Snyder did have a Wonder Woman. We don't yet have that in the new DCU, John. But there are potentially a few good options out there. In fact, one of the popular fan casts, Adria Arjona, who's currently starring in season 2 of Andor, there was a really racy scene with her in, I think, episode 2 or 3 of Andor season 2. Which, not, maybe racy is not the right word, maybe controversial, like, hard to watch. Probably a better way to describe it. I'm not going to give away the details. If you guys are watching the show, you know. But she recently was, obviously promoting the show, and she was asked by one of the person from Cinema Blend, I forget who was interviewing her specifically, about whether she would want to play Wonder Woman in James Gunn's DCU. And to that she said, "He gave me my first movie ever, my first studio movie. And so I owe him a lot. I love James Gunn, but I don't know." So, John, it begs the question. It looks like she's got an affinity for James Gunn. She thinks highly of him because he helped her break into the industry, at least at the studio level in Hollywood. And, she would love, it seems like she feels like she's in his debt. So do you feel like James Gunn could potentially cast her? Obviously, a lot of fans would love to see it. We have seen a number of fan castings come to life already with Jason Momoa coming in as Lobo. So do you think Adria Arjona could be the next Wonder Woman?
I mean, it's entirely possible, but this is Jason Momoa and David Corenswet have been fan cast as their characters for quite a long time. Like, I remember David Corenswet being considered when Henry Cavill was still I think in the years of in between the Justice League and the Snyder Cut. They're like, oh, if Henry Cavill's getting too old, then just cast this younger guy who looks just like him. And that was David Corenswet. So I think that was propelled it. And Jason Momoa, he's literally said for years that he's I was a Lobo fan. I love Lobo. I look like Lobo. I act like Lobo. I live and breathe. I am Lobo. So
he's seamlessly Lobo. He doesn't even have to try.
Yeah, there's that. But Adria Arjona, I've only seen in maybe in the past year or so. I think pretty much ever since Andor, people have been post DCEU. It's in the years between season 1 and season 2 of Andor, they're oh, maybe this woman could play it. So she hasn't been in the cultural zeitgeist of fan casting for as long as Corenswet and Momoa as their characters in the DCU. So I don't know about that, but could it still work? Absolutely. I think she would do a really good job. She was one of my fan castings. Sometimes fan casting works, and you know what? Fuck it. I would love to see her, but outside of that, I think getting someone who's Greek could be really interesting, since she is of Greek origin technically, because Greek mythology and all that. So that could be. I've seen a couple Greek actresses that have been fan cast that could do a really good job. Whatever they decide to do, I'm sure it'll be great. But Arjona would definitely be one of my top choices.
I think so too. And I mean, Elite Easy was asking hey, is she a great actress? I mean, look, just watch her in Andor. She's a great actress. I think she's underrated in some ways. She's had a number of movies where obviously everybody does good and bad films. It's not like the actors write the scripts, they just do the best they can with it. So I think she's had some good ones, some bad ones. But in terms of, being given some great material to work with, Andor is a fantastic example of seeing, what she's capable of. And she could definitely play Wonder Woman, in my opinion. I believe that more so now than ever, having seen her in Andor. And so, yeah, she would be fantastic. And she's got the physique for it. She's got the look. She could definitely fit the character really, really well. But she's not the only one potentially vying for the role, John, because Jessica Green, the Australian actress Jessica Green, has confirmed that she would love to audition for the role whenever the time comes, whenever they do start to put a call out for this. Of course, she's another big fan casting potentially. She was asked on social media, would you audition for the role? And she was like, 100% I would. What do you think about Jessica Green?
She kind of looks like the love child of Megan Gale, who was going to play Wonder Woman in Justice League Mortal, and Megan Fox. So, yeah, a little bit. Hopefully she can act better than the both of them. So I don't know. I'm not familiar with Jessica Green. I don't know who she is. I'm sure she's great, but I don't know. She certainly looks the part. I don't know. I mean, with that, because I know she was in a cosplay. That's why people were like, hey, and they were like, hell yes. So
yeah. Jalen is so conflicted, right? I mean, she's been in a number of things. I know she's not as prolific of an actress as Adria Arjona. She's been in like the Air movie. I think she was in one of the Pirates movies. She did this show called The Outpost, Lightning Point. Not nearly as well known as Adria Arjona is right now in her career, but you never know. I mean, when Gal Gadot was cast, she had only done a few things, so it wasn't
maybe
she was very well known at that time. Figure drawing saying the original Wonder Woman movie gets worse over time. Well, that's. Wait, are you talking about the Gal Gadot one? Because no, it doesn't. If you're talking about the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman movie, that is, honest to goodness, one of the best DC movies of the past 20 years.
I would say it's not my favorite, but it is probably the best DCEU
yeah,
movie.
In my opinion, it's a top 3 DCEU movie, like easily. Like that Wonder Woman movie, and it also made like a shit ton of money. That was the first critically and box office success for DC in that era. So yes.
Yeah, I think I will say the third act is kind of wonky a little bit.
Yeah, that was definitely
similar
like
with the Wolverine, but like here's the thing: the rest of the movie,
both of those movies had the same problem.
It's just a shame because like both of those movies, the first 2 acts were so fucking exemplary that I kind of forgive the wonky third act a little bit because there's still some good moments in Wonder Woman's third act, not so much the Wolverine but both like is pretty much like those movies, the first 2 acts like of Wonder Woman, it was essentially a war movie, and then it became a generic comic book movie in the third act. The Wolverine was like this conflicting character piece set in an exotic foreign backdrop that unfortunately becomes a generic comic book movie in the third act. So
it seems like the studios got involved and just meddled in both of those situations where they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
The third act just felt like the director got the movie taken away from them when they should have been able to just pay off the story they were trying to tell. But I mean, outside of that, both were great movies. I think like Wolverine could have been, like you said, even better. Could have been much closer to like what Logan became, where they clearly did not interfere in that way. And Wonder Woman 2, not Wonder Woman 2, but Wonder Woman, the first movie, also had the same kind of problem where they did not need David Thewlis to become what they made him. Like it, because especially when you go back and watch the character in that flashback sequence in the Justice League movie, right, where you see that same character. I forget which Greek was it? Which Greek god was it? The god of war, was it? I think.
Yeah. Ares.
But
yeah.
Ares, right? I mean, like that version of Ares, if they had that in Wonder Woman, like the one that we got in that flashback sequence of Darkseid, that would have been perfect. Not the one that we got. That just was stupid. But yeah, I mean,
played by the same actor, but
it was exactly. It's just, again, different creative people in charge making the decisions, and yeah, well, you know what? That's one of many different bad decisions that led
someone
to the DCEU's
actually.
demise.
I think it was Nando V Movies had a really good like alternate take where it was like Sir Patrick stays Sir Patrick, but like Ares is like not a prominent threat at all. He's just kind of like, yeah, I was just like I didn't make like people do what they want. It's just like that's the folly of man kind of thing. And it was actually really funny that he had Ares played by Nicholas Coster-Waldau, which I'm like, that would have been fucking baller, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, going past the Wonder Woman stuff, we'll keep an eye out. I mean, hopefully we'll hear about a Wonder Woman casting at some point in the not too distant future, because I mean, even Paradise Lost right now is kind of lost in the shuffle. But you know what's not lost in the shuffle is Superman, because Superman's also getting a Hero for All version of the comic. It's what they're calling a DC Comics Treasury Edition. It harks back to the oversized comics of years gone by, John. The artwork looks fantastic here. Did you go over this? What did you think about this artwork?
It's interesting how Superman and the artwork, like the background artwork, looks so different. Like the background stuff kind of looks more like Alex Ross, but like the Superman looks more like Jorge Jimenez. I don't know if that's who did it, but it looks like two distinct art styles, which maybe is on purpose, but it looks really cool and really interesting. I would pick it up if I had money, but you know.
The art is super, says Caleb. That art is super. We hear you, Caleb. We hear you with the puns. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. I mean, he's also wearing briefs here, which looks very David Cornsweet like. It is Happy National Superhero Day. We talked about it at the top of the show. We talked about a lot of Marvel stuff. We're talking about DC now. Of course, who's your favorite? What's your favorite DC film, John?
Who's your daddy and what does he do? Play the clip. Anyway, just kidding. But favorites, I don't fucking like. I don't know, because for years I was like, what does he do? Exactly. Anyway, so like I don't know. I've been always like flip flopping because I'm always kind of weirdly afraid to say Superman. Because it's like, oh, that's the most popular superhero. Of course you fucking say Superman. It's like, that's not the reason why. It's not because he has all the powers or his suit looks cool or, you know, Christopher Reeve. I like him because, like, he's, like, believes in hope in a hopeless world. Like, I like that. I love the morale behind that character. I like so many of the actors who played him. Like, I like the idea and concept of like this being with all this power, but he uses it for good. Like, I like that. And then because of that, I picked a similar superhero, the Flash, because he's kind of like a lot of those Superman-esque things. And he's really interesting, has a lot of like lore-based stuff, has each iteration has been great. And then the Flash movie came out, and now everybody hates the Flash because that movie fucking sucked donkey dicks. So now I gotta think of somebody else that's like kind of similar. But like, I mean, I like the Question. I think he's great. I love you know, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Elite Easy mentioned it in the chat. You know, I do like. Who's another one I really like? I love if we're going not just DC, I love Daredevil, I love Moon Knight, I love I love Green Arrow. Like there's so many like you know I mean I like so many. I think Ghost Rider is an intriguing character. I haven't read a ton of his stuff, but I think he's like kind of an intriguing character. Wolverine is great. I like a lot of teams, you know, like X-Men and stuff like that. I haven't read as nearly as much as I want to. Maybe I'll try to fix that soon, but yeah, I think there's just so many. There's so goddamn many in regards to how, like, and you know, Batman. I have a love-hate relationship with Batman because like I've read a lot of amazing stuff. But at the same time, like the fans kind of I love the Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol's great. The fans kind of piss me off. But then at the same time, you have all these fuckers who don't understand the character that are like, Batman should kill people. Batman is fucking worthless unless you get like, or like Batman uses child soldiers, like all those fucking idiots that have never read a comic book in their life trying to be like, well, I know everything and this character sucks. So like I defend him, but at the same time, I'm kind of sick of him. but I like a lot of the comics, but the movies are not like, they don't hold a candle to what I want in the character. Not like any of the movies are like horrendously awful outside of like maybe Batman and Robin, but like, it's just like I kind of have a weird love-hate relationship with Batman nowadays. So, yeah, I mean, there's many. Yeah, Animal Man's great. Ambush Bug is ridiculous. I haven't read anything of Ambush Bug, but I just know like he's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
I mean,
yeah.
What I'll say is my favorite DC movie specifically is easily, I mentioned it earlier in the show when you guys asked, The Dark Knight. Like, that's tops the list far and away. It's also the best superhero movie ever made. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, so that's an easy answer for me. And then outside of that, I would say in my top 5, you can find Man of Steel. Fantastic movie, probably the best Superman movie made to date. Again, not counting Superman that comes out in a few months because it's not out yet. So that definitely could potentially move at the top of the list. So yeah, I mean, it might be even better than The Dark Knight for all we know. The Flash movie, yeah, I enjoyed Michael Keaton in it. I thought
here's the thing.
I liked it more than you did. I mean, but I also enjoyed Aquaman.
Like, look at
and
that!
Batman,
look at that screenshot with Batman. Look at that. It doesn't work. Batman almost, for the most part, doesn't work in daylight. At least this specific outfit and this specific Batman does not work in the daytime. And you could see how bad it is just by looking at that screenshot. It looks terrible. And I'm like, guys, come on. Like, you couldn't have like done something to make it at least a little bit better. Oh, animated, that's just a whole other fucking story. There's just too many great ones.
We can talk about that for hours and hours. We could do that as a topic one day. I think we could probably just do a ranking. You guys let us know what you would like to include in that ranking of best DC animated movies ever. I think we've even discussed this before, but we can do another updated one. Batman Begins is Jose's favorite DC movie. That's a good one. That's as good as any choice out there. But guys, let us know in the comments down below. What's your favorite DC film? It's National Superhero Day, so how do you celebrate it? Well, do you watch a Marvel movie? Do you watch a DC movie? If so, then which one is it that you choose to spend your time watching and watching again? A good rewatch on National Superhero Day is always fun. But we have to move on and talk about Superman because, of course, that is the movie on the horizon. Superman Day is now a little over a week behind us, but we're still getting a lot of stuff happening and more quotes and comments and new collectible merchandise releasing as tying into Superman. As I like to call her now, MGDF, or Maria Gabriela de Faria, she's playing the engineer in the new Superman movie, and she confirmed recently that while she will be playing the engineer, the character won't be naked when not using her powers, unlike in the comics, and we've kind of seen as much with the costume that they had her wearing on set. And yeah, I mean, otherwise it'd be a very rated R movie. And then it also could, she mentioned that the character is going to struggle internally with her actions, meaning like she's going to be a bit conflicted. So she's maybe,
I figured as much.
What are your thoughts on these reveals? I mean, one of them is a little more obvious than the other, I suppose.
I mean, the thing is, I understand why they don't have the whole naked thing, not just because of like, it's weird for a character to do that and all that stuff. Like, because like you can do that in the comics, because I can imagine it's gonna be like a conflicting struggle, and I feel like in live action movie form, all right, goddamn TC24, Jesus Christ, he's talking like 5-ash now. But because with a comic book, you can draw them.
Up if you mention his name. I'm just
with a comic, you could draw them however which way you want. You could just draw them. But in live action form, there could be the relatability factor of like not seeing someone who's human, who's supposed to be more a conflictory kind of human anti-hero sort of thing. But also the fact the CGI, like having a CGI character like that long for, especially it's
very expensive.
Use it for other stuff. So I would say I think it's a decently fine decision to like use it sparingly, because it's for maybe the human relatability factor, maybe for the CGI factor. I'm not acting like CGI is like superly extremely expensive, but I do think it works in this case outside of the horniness, of people being gross and shit. But like, I understand why. Like, there's a lot of factors as to why that's not the case. Because if they could get away with it, I think they would have. Having an entire character that's silver all the time, no matter what. So yeah, I think that makes sense. And no matter what, she's still attractive, so you could still be looking, guys. There's enough attractive Hispanics in this movie that'll keep you bricked up for hours. It's fine.
Yeah, yep. There you go. Yeah. Well, the engineer is going to be one of the better parts of the movie, hopefully, because we know that she's part of a lot of the big action sequences. She's in the action sequence in the baseball stadium where Mr. Terrific gets involved. You have Ultraman in there, or what we think is Ultraman, fighting Superman. And she's definitely working with Lex Luthor. We see her in the trailer. She's like on the Luthor Corp building. And yeah, she's involved with arresting Superman at one point in the movie. So we'll just have to wait and see how far that character goes. Of course, the Authority is going to be a character that we will, not character, but a team of characters that we will hopefully get in their own movie soon. They did announce it. It's on the back burner, but they did say a bunch of those themes and made it into this movie. So I guess a lot of that will tie into the character of the engineer. And yeah, Maria is going to be a big part of the movie. So we'll just have to wait and see how big a part she has in the movie. But in the meantime, John, I mentioned there's a bunch of other merchandise from Superman that's out there now, including the Funko Pops. We finally have some first looks at what the Funko Pops of Superman are going to look like. And they look cute. You got Superman there. You have Lex Luthor and Crypto, of course. These don't even cost much. They're like $15 a pop, John. Would you get your hands on, would you get both of these, all three of them? What are your thoughts on these designs?
No.
Do you think that same person who other day was like, oh man, fine, James Gunn, have my wallet, and he's like, I'm the lucky one? He's like, no, you are the lucky one. Like, do you think that guy is going after getting all of these for themselves?
I mean, if people enjoy them, it's fine by me. I don't. Sorry.
The chat is still having fun with the last story, which I don't blame you guys. But Caleb is like, just keep the Funkos away from the jars.
Oh, dude, come on, man.
Come on.
I gotta go that way.
Come on, man. Moving on to the next thing. If you are not tired of all the merchandise they've already put out there, you can have yourself Superman branded pens from Ferris Wheel Press. They are also another brand collaboration, so you can get this version here. I think these look like fountain pens. I've used fountain pens before. Fountain pens are fun to work with and write with as well. The weight of them, like the whole dynamic of what a fountain pen feels like in your hand and how it writes is so different from like a ballpoint pen or roller ball pen. I like the artwork on the boxes here. It looks fantastic. The logo in silver with the DC Studios logo on top. Frozen Fortress, the different ink colors. They got a red one here. I might get myself a couple of these. These look
so
nice.
It's like, is it like a quill pen kind of thing? Like, because it has
look like fountain
inks?
pens.
Oh, fountain pens.
Yeah, they look like fountain pens.
Dan, you didn't mention that part. You said like,
I've been
fucking
saying,
like.
I said it like 5 times. What are you talking about? I just said it 5 times. I'm talking about how I love fountain pens.
Well, because I'm looking at the pictures now. It's free everything. You're like, are you interested in a Superman pen? It's like, oh, you mean like Superman pens, like in a pack of 5 from Bic?
No,
I can get Staples for $5. No, I'm not interested. I would be honestly not gonna lie. I might get this now. I'm honestly, unless it's like fucking $100, then I'm not doing that. But like, honestly, I've never had a fountain pen, so I'd probably fuck it up. But like, I write enough. I have a lot of pens. I have this one right here. See, I use that one a lot. But it's cool. Like, honestly, you didn't mention this part. I'm cool with it. It's hell yeah. I'll get one. No, what? Fuck it. I'll get one. I'll put it on. Put it as a business expense.
I mean, I might get myself a few of these. Jalen is like, I'll just buy it for coolness sake. Steven asking us, how was your weekend? John, how was your weekend? Do you want to talk about that for a second?
It was great. I watched the Mets win. That was fun on Saturday. Then on Sunday, I started my computer. And then I tried to fit my CPU cooler in my case, and it didn't fit. It was too big, so I got to return that and get a smaller one.
That's not good. That's not good.
So,
that's a big hitch.
Yeah, that's fun. So I got to wait like a week for the new one to get here, and then return the other one. So, yeah, that was fun. But in the meantime, I'm still on my shitty laptop. That's like sounds like a jet engine right now.
Oh wow, that's on the runway about to take off.
Yeah.
By the way, Jose, I do write cursive. So yeah, but I know like they don't really teach that anymore. So like,
nah, they
people
don't
want a fountain pen. I actually used to use fountain pens to write back in elementary school. Actually, it wasn't in the U.S. If that gives you a hint, because in the U.S. they don't even teach you how to write cursive. But I had fountain pens, so I knew how to like use them with the inks and everything. I myself would grab a few of those if I could. I get all three of them, different color inks as well. But John, as Elite EZ pointing out here, the Minix collectible figurine for Superman is also coming out soon. Looks like something straight out of Fortnite to me. A little more of a highlight on the details on the suit than what you see in some of the other versions of the figures. What are your thoughts on this one?
Looks cute. The face looks a little uncanny valley, but outside of that, it looks pretty cute.
Jalen asking, are you a basketball fan, John? I am a basketball fan. I don't know about John so much, but
not really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that are the Celtics playing today? No, I don't know if they're playing today. I know that the Celtics won over the weekend, and the Cleveland Cavaliers just beat the Miami Heat, stomped them by like 55 points, which is like a record. And then Canada just kept Mark Carney in power. There you go, the results of the Canadian election. Live breaking news to you guys. But getting back to the Superman conversation, Don, we have a few more stories to get into before we finish the show today. We have about 15 minutes to go. In that time, we're going to talk about, well, you know what? I'm going to save this one because I want to end on a positive note. Let's talk about this weird plot rumor that you guys have been asking us about in the comments. I went and looked this up because I wasn't sure this was even worth bringing up since you guys are asking about it. I think Hunter asked about it. Jose asked about it. A number of you guys in the chat have talked about this. So let's get into it. Sorry, Jalen, you are a Miami Heat fan, but it looks like the Heat are gone from the playoffs this year. They need to rebuild that team. But anyway, John, did you come across this? Did you
no, when Caleb was talking about it before, I'm like, oh, he's joking. He's just being a troll.
Yeah,
like he
apparently
always is. And then
it's going around, and it's coming from My Time to Shine. Hello, I think MTTSH. I think that's what it stands for. So this is what they had to say. In the movie, Superman is frustrated by social media backlash, but the hashtag super shit being mentioned several times is really getting under his skin. Meanwhile, in Lex's interdimensional world, hundreds of mutant monkeys are shown typing furiously at keyboards, flooding social media with hate.
This sounds like the most brain dead, fucking stupidest thing I have ever seen. There is no this is like trauma James Gunn levels of stupid. There's no fucking way that this is real. This is, even if it is, this sounds like something Robot Chicken would make up. Or like The Simpsons. Like this sounds like a bad parody. Sounds like something that was made by a Snyder fan to shit on the new movie. You're like, oh yeah, this stupid fucking scene there's no way this is true. I don't believe this for any sort of second. I understand like what they're going for. It's like if you put like monkeys in a room, they'll eventually write Shakespeare or whatever the fuck it was. But like I can see like super shit being a hashtag by like social media backlash. Like that I could maybe buy because it's happening right now because Snyder fans exist. But like the fucking monkeys typing on that's so fucking that's just really fucking dumb. That's really, really. I don't.
The locker room gag is like, all hail K, all hail K. Okay, can you see? I'm like, that's one of my favorite moments from that movie. I would love it. If this is indeed what that was. It's like, all hail Lex.
The only way I can see this working is if it's like a commentary on Snyder cultists, but I don't think James Gunn is going there.
I think like Jalen and a bunch of you guys are saying in the chat, we need context. We can't just, because this sounds stupid, and even if it is real, I mean, it would really go to tell you what kind of movie this is. B, I don't think this is real. And C, if it was real, then I'm sure there's more context missing here. But My Time to Shine, hell, I have no idea how reliable they are. I don't think we have come across a good story from them in a long time. So yeah, I mean, then Nico pointing out, saying it's probably hyperbole, but the idea makes sense today with social media now. Yeah, if they do want to provide the commentary, of course, we had like that throwaway line in Barbie with like, I felt like I was stuck watching the Snyder cut of Justice League, and it's just like maybe they do something like that. Maybe it's a little too close, because it's another DC movie to do something. I don't know. This seems really stupid. I don't believe it. I just can't wait to see James Gunn, shoot this down somewhere, because somebody's probably has already asked him about it, I bet you. And then he's gonna be like, ha ha ha, funny, but no, it's not in the movie. I hope that's what happens. And when it does, we will talk about it, of course. But Elite Easy's like Snyder cultists were the sons of Themyscira in my head canon.
I assume that was kind of the
yes, that's yeah. Yes, that's hilarious. TC24 saying, I feel like if Zaslav saw that in the test screening, he would have asked how much of the budget you spent on that bullshit. Yes, I bet you he did. And yes, Jalen, we would love for this movie to come out already. The amount of scoops that have come out from this movie is insane, but you know what? It goes to show you that people care about this movie. They care so much. That's why they're willing to put out fake rumors and stuff, because they want to be part of the conversation. Because, wow, I was about to choke on my own. All right, I'm still here. Anyway, I mean, the fact that we're talking about it and talk about it every day, people want to be a part of the conversation. So they're willing to even, I guess, put out fake rumors. But you know what? This photo is not fake. This was in a USA Today article, John, and it gives us probably the best look yet at that sequence they were filming out in the streets of, was it Cincinnati? With Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet as Superman and Lois. You see the bulges right there. Definitely noticeable. But the super suit and Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane looking like she's straight out of, I don't know, a day at work at the Daily Planet. You got a Meteors sign in the back, the fan club. We know they're gonna be showing a fight sequence in the baseball stadium for the Metropolis Meteors. This is definitely something we have seen a lot of set photos from, but this one looks like this is either a behind the scenes photo, or maybe this might even be a still from one of the shots.
I think it might be behind the scenes, because the rubble is looking a little bit too fake to me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
The chat is just coming after me. Yes, I have choked on things before on the show. I don't know. I should stop eating and drinking while I do the show. But then again, John does it all the time. He seems to be fine. So I don't know. I was like, maybe I can be fine doing it too. Apparently, it doesn't work for me.
Because I chew and swallow like right before I'm about to say something.
We're just gonna like move past that conversation now.
Every shot of them is so loving, melts my little black heart.
Thank you, Elite Easy. Yes, we all need a little bit of that, right? That's what James Gunn's aim is.
All you need is love. Anyway,
Jalen's like, water, Dan, drink water. All right, well, I will drink some green water. That helps. Yes, there we go. TC24 saying soups are a farming level on Krypton. Yes. I will say the suit looks pretty cool from this angle. I like it. Again, you keep mentioning that maybe there's two versions of the suit because the collar sits a little bit differently. I don't know. This one seems to have the notch around the neck in the front. This looks fun. I hope we get more photos like this. I mean, obviously, we're still waiting for the second trailer. But John Sinners is out. The second trailer didn't come out. When do you think we're gonna get the second trailer at this point? Well, what's the next big touch point? Today was National Superhero Day. That could have been a good time to do it. They didn't do it now. What's another big movie? I mean, Thunderbolts drops this week.
It'd be really funny. I keep saying this. I'm sorry. It would just be too perfect. Release it on the day Thunderbolts comes out. Like, that would be a bit of a power move. Like, a little bit. Like, just like, oh, we're gonna, It's gonna start to trickle in. No, fuck you. Bam, Superman. Eat a dick. Fuck you, Thunderbolts, in your shitty ass Wheaties box. Yeah, I said it. Get out of here with that shit.
Dude, I saw one in my theater, and I'm like, you know what? I could probably bring that back and fit it in this room. It's not that big, but it's big enough. I would totally love to have that around. Yes, it's not a drink from space, but it is nice. It actually tastes like cream soda, so it's nice. Yeah, I am a butterfly. Thank you, TC24. I'm one of a kind. There's only one blade, only gonna be one blade, says Enterprising. Yes, that is. Well, it seems like that's the way things are going. I don't know. Maybe Enterprising is watching the show back from earlier when we were talking about Blade. Elite Easy says the actor looks comfortable in his super suit. I hope to crack the code for the cowl too. Yes. Well, I think they did, didn't they? Because Robert Pattinson's suit is meant to be much more comfortable than what we have seen in the past. Ben Affleck obviously talked about how he hated his suit, but I don't think Robert Pattinson has mentioned anything like that. In fact, his suit is much more modular. It feels like it's easier to put on. It feels like, they don't have him like stuck where he can't move around. His cowl gives him a good amount of movement as well. Right. Obviously, anytime you're wearing something on top, like a helmet of some kind or the cowl, it's not going to be as breathable as like what Superman. He's just got a hairdo, So that's always going to be a difficult thing to work your way around. So, TC24, you're talking about the Peacemaker butterflies. Oh, okay. I thought that was a compliment. Never mind. No, I can confirm I am not an alien, but that's what I would say if I were an alien, wouldn't it? Especially with the politics of the moment. So, Jalen's saying, I'm betting it comes out in the week of May 6th, the second trailer of Superman. That's a good... Yeah, I mean...
No, it's going to come out July 10th. That's when the second trailer is going to come out at this fucking
Go see the movie tomorrow. Here's a trailer just to... But seriously, though, if we're going to start May this week, and so... we're basically getting to the point where we can start saying Superman is 2 months away. So I would imagine that's as good a time as any to put a trailer out, like the final trailer, and then you have a couple of months to go before the movie releases. I'm sure we might get another clip or two from the movie, more ad spots, like 30-second ads where you get a new shot here and there. So, yeah. Elite Easy saying Pattinson's headpiece looks a little funny, LOL, but that's probably about design, looks kind of military-like. Yeah. That was the intention. I think they wanted to get something more functional, more like, he's going out there to fight crime, but he's put the suit together himself, so he's got a bunch of little things that he has cobbled together into what has become his suit. But I mean, the Superman suit, John, just wanted to get as your last thought on the show today. Where do you stand with the design of the Superman suit, having now looked at it from every angle imaginable, and seen it in action in the trailers in the movie from what we have seen so far? Where do you rank it among all the different live action Superman suits we've gotten?
I mean, the best is probably... Thing is, I mean, technically we've only ever gotten 3. I would say, I mean, out of
the movies, yes, right? But like, do you count the TV shows as well?
Well, I mean, you said live action films, so that's why I was like, but like, if we're counting TV shows, then like, my favorite is probably the Tyler Hoechlin one because it's the closest to like.
Well, which one though? Because
like,
he had like, but he had like 5 different versions because they changed the design up every season.
I would say the season 3 one. That's probably the best one. The season 3 one, kind of the season 4 one. I think the season 3 one's probably the best one. I still hate both with that one and Henry Cavill. I hate the fake abs. It looks so stupid. Like,
I don't think it needed it. It was less noticeable.
Superman never needs Henry Cavill is fucking built like a tank. You don't need the fake abs. Tyler Hoechlin he's more like athletically lean than Cavill, but like he was pretty muscular during his time on the show. He didn't need it. So like, I would say Tyler Hoechlin, like season 3, season 4 suit's probably my favorite. I like the homemade look of the Dean Cain suit because that's what it was at the time. Like, oh, thanks, my mom made it for me. Exactly. Like, actually, you know what? No, scratch that. My favorite suit, my favorite live action suit we've ever gotten, the Fleischer Tyler Hoechlin suit that was worn in the flashback of season 1 pilot.
It was
That's
in
the
first
best
episode.
suit. That's my favorite suit because that's the best looking suit. Like, it didn't have the fake abs. It had the colors. It had the cool Fleischer logo. That was that one and the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come suit. Those were the best suits, easily. And they were only there for like 5 minutes. Not even. Best suits.
We got more Cat Knight and My Dream in Orbit watching live right now.
I don't like the
TC24
emo
back
suit.
in here.
Fuck the
and
emo
Man of Steel
suit.
Magnolias. I like the black suit too, TC24. My Dream in Orbit. We haven't seen you in the live show in a long time, man. Like, leave us more comments. We will bring those in on the Friday Q&A session that we do. But yeah, the airbrushed abs and the floating belt are the big no-no for me, says My Dream in Orbit. I agree with you, TC24. The black suit looked nice, but also the Henry Cavill suit never needed the abs. And then the whole the spray painted ab thing, because they were just like plates that sat under the upper layer of the suit, like in terms of like how they did it from a costume perspective. They had much less of it, and it was a lot less noticeable in Man of Steel. And then Zack Snyder seemingly just like added to it for BVS and for Justice League, which I felt like was not necessary. Like you said, Henry Cavill doesn't need that. Man of Steel Magnolia saying Soups looks great. He does look great here. Also, I like the suit. I like the logo. The logo of this new Superman logo. I'm really getting used to it. Right? Like, this is it
is the Kingdom Come logo,
Yeah.
so like it works there. But yeah, I would say I can't believe I almost forgot about the Brandon Routh one. But like, he was there for like a hot sec, so like that's why it's like you kind of forget about it. But like, those were easily the best ones. And then I mean, the Christopher Reeves one is great. It's good for the time. It's a little dated, but like, it was in the 70s, so like that makes sense. But like, it's still, I love that look. It has the classic look. I would prefer a slightly darker blue than the like kind of sky blue it had, but it's still great. With that, the Superboy suit was kind of similar. I mean, you also had the Kirk Allen and George Reeves suits. The George Reeves one was good for TV in the 50s. Kirk Allen was good for film serials in the 40s. But you know, I would say the color scheme for Dean Cain's is one of the best. Like, it has that dark royal blue, bright red, and bright yellow. That was like, I would say the suit looks okay. It's fine. I love the color scheme of that suit. And then Brandon Routh, I like the blue. The blue is near perfect, but then it's got the fucking ugly ass maroon, and it's like, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
And the logo is too small.
I was just gonna say,
So-
Elite Easy, the Cavill Black Adam suit is literally the same suit from like Justice League, I think, or Man of Steel. They just shot it and didn't desaturate it as much as they did in the Zack Snyder movies because the color grading was different. So it wasn't like it was a different suit. Yeah, but I mean, hey, Man of Steel Magnolias, we do believe, because we talked about it a week ago, I think, that a lot of people will be dressing up like Superman this Halloween because they actually have official Halloween costumes for this movie. So I'm sure a lot of people will go out and pick them up, sells up a few of them. We also have Angelica joining in the chat. Hello, Angelica, saying, if the suit isn't good, do you think it will affect the movie? Well, I think based on what we have seen so far, the suit looks good. I know a lot of people have some concerns regarding, like, is it fit tight enough? Is it too loose? What about the underwear and all that? So far, in everything we've seen him in action in the movies, it looks fine. I don't notice anything that's wrong with it. So yeah, I mean, the suit is always a part of your enjoyment of the movie. I guess the only way it would affect the movie's box office is if it's noticeably bad in the film. Like, if people start paying attention to the suit, it's kind of like that whole thing, right? Like, where in Han Solo, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill talk about it. It's like, you know, he's like, Mark Hamill's pointing out continuity issues, and like Harrison Ford is like, kid, it's not that kind of movie. If they're looking at your hair, then we've got bigger problems. And I was like, yes, exactly. That's, you know, well, I hope that, yeah, if people are looking at Superman's junk in the movie, then we have bigger problems. But guys, hey, by the way, one of you guys were asking about something we talked about earlier in the show. So definitely, I think Enterprising is watching back the show from earlier. So do be kind and rewind. We talked about the Wonder Woman stuff earlier. But I mean, hey, we appreciate you guys joining us for another fantastic show. It's been amazing. Hit the like button on the way out. The Shazam suit I like too. By the way,
I like both
TC24.
versions, but that's just me.
But with that in mind, we'll see you back here tomorrow on another episode of DCU Daily. See you tomorrow, everybody.